Welcome to the next edition of Missing the Point. I am Hollywood Ray Sean Buchanan with my guys, Mike Marcangelo, Money Mike, and the real BK Bob Kelly. What's going on, guys? How y'all doing tonight?
We were good, apparently.
Great. No one.
Who wants to go first? Mike,
Same,
you
we're doing-
always
we're
go,
doing
fucking,
bro.
I'm doing fucking great, Ray.
Doing
same.
fucking great.
Same.
It'll only take 30 minutes to answer. Awesome. So
Maybe how could that be bad, bro? I got a
Uh,
new daughter named Tatum. What?
yeah,
the-
that's the happiest I'll be all show. So that's listen. We're talking Celtics, all things Celtics, and I've gone through a roller coaster of emotions the last week, really the last 3 weeks since the All-Star break. So we're recording this on a Wednesday night. They just came off a 6-game road trip, and they bookended, right? They bookended with a win in Atlanta. They won in Sacramento last night. So Mike, I'll start with you. So they end the road trip going 4-2. And it's funny because like the last time we had a nice road trip like this, you and I were on the show as well. So just what were your thoughts overall on the road trip? And just how do you feel about them overall right now?
Yeah. Listen, I thought that the win last night made me feel a little bit better about the road trip, obviously. 132-109 against a really good Sacramento, a surprising, really good Sacramento team. And Tatum balled out, right? I thought, 36 points. I loved, and I know that this is, Bobby's going to hate this, but I thought that Jaylen Brown's performance was better in the sense that he scored, 27, but he was more efficient. He didn't need 25 shots to get his points. He went 10 of 16 from the field. He was 3 for 3 from the free throw line. I thought his intensity was great. Derrick White, that man needs to be the starter from here on in.
Yeah, man.
But he 20 and 12?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. I thought it was a great win. Also, with that win, did you know? I'm going to hit you with the did you know this early on. The Celtics are 28-0 when they shoot 40% or better from three.
Wow.
Well, yeah, that's not a stat I knew. So I welcome you being the Sean Grandy of the show because Sean Grandy has been throwing phenomenal did you know facts out there on the broadcast. So he's going to be the great replacement when Mike Gorman chooses to hang it up. Because Mike Gorman's just he's telling us in his own way, like I'm not doing many games going forward. So
no, he's doing the Tommy thing right now. He's not doing away games.
Yeah.
But also, that's a really cool stat. It's really positive. The reason why I bring it up is because they're 22 and 23 when they shoot less than 40% from three.
Yeah.
That's scary.
So it is. So I feel like that has a lot to do with. That has a lot to do with Jayson Tatum. I feel like because he just at this point, when you see him struggle, even if Jaylen has a great game, right? Because Jaylen's been better than Jayson Tatum this past month and a half. There's literally no arguing that fact. He has 100% been a better basketball player, but the Celtics have not been a better basketball team. You know what I mean? That's really what I keep coming back to. Is like this team goes as Jayson Tatum goes. Like the past month and a half, we haven't seen that MVP Jayson Tatum performance really until last night. Last night was the first kind of time in the last month that we saw him actually take a game over and look like the Tatum we saw last year. And listen, I give Jaylen all the credit, but when this team is at their best is when Jayson Tatum is at their best. Jaylen Brown can ball out all he wants, but if Jayson Tatum isn't playing like that MVP guy, this team just doesn't function that way because the way Joe Mazzulla runs it, the way that it was set up, everything about it revolves around that dude playing that type of basketball. You know what I mean? And we saw it the first 3-4 months of the season. So I just feel that's been the biggest thing that's come downhill. In regards to the road trip, I just think it's a perfect microcosm of the past 2 months because the 2 games they lost were Jaylen. I think Jaylen scored 40 in one of them, right? It just seems like that's what the trend is going to be going forward to me. If Jayson Tatum is Jayson Tatum in the playoffs, we're going to be good. If he's the guy we saw last night, we're all right. If the Celtics are the team that we saw those 2 games, the one that stands out to me, it's not even in this road trip, it's that Knicks game. If that's the Celtics we get in the playoffs, I'm worried. But I don't wanna hit that gaslighting yet, you know?
Right. No, I mean, listen, the gas is fully lit on the side. I'm through the roof. But the thing is, right, with Tatum, and this is why, when people say, "Oh, I rather JB," people rather JB because of the, like you said, like Mike said, the energy, the the effort that he's given on a regular basis. But this team generally does not win when Jaylen Brown's the leading scorer. Right? Once again, he goes bananas against the Rockets. I think he has 43 that night, right?
Rockets, that's who it was, he had 40.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
couldn't
it.
they couldn't, they would have needed the '94 Rockets team to stop Jaylen Brown. That's how much he was tearing them up. But Tatum, I think, had 22. And once again, 22 was not a terrible number.
It's an inefficient 22.
Right.
That's
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So when you're not affecting the game in other ways, yeah, it looks subpar. But the thing is, those type of games since the All-Star break, since he was so fucking pleased to get the All-Star record and Utah, he left his jump shot and he left his heart in Salt Lake City. And
So
that's the problem.
yeah, it is 100%. And to kind of back that up, and especially back up what Mike was saying earlier, that game is a microcosm of what's been wrong. You know what I mean? Because what's going on here? Something just started playing in my ear. My bad. Because if you look at that game, Tatum, Horford, White, and I want to say I don't know who else played in that game. It was Griffin. I don't know who started that game, but they were a combined. I think it was like 2 or 3 of 15 to 20 from 3 in that game. Jaylen Brown was 4 of 10 from 3. So Jaylen had an efficient outing from 3-point. He shot 40%. He was good. He was 43 points. The rest of the team was just absolute hot garbage. And I just feel like because they all flow off of what Tatum does. And if Tatum's shooting 20% from 3, it sends the rest of the team into a downfall. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I just feel like that's the way it is.
So here's my theory. I think and Bobby and I have gone back and forth about this. I don't think tonight's going to be one of those shows. But the greats make everyone else great when they're having an off night.
Right.
Tatum doesn't do that. The team runs through him or dies through him. Primarily his shooting. Yeah. And that's an issue. No, it's not. He's still young. I know he's only 19.
Nice.
He still has time to develop that aspect of his game. Like the same criticism was given to Kobe until Powell got to LA. That's the run that they went on. That he was selfish. No, if you're compared to Kobe Bryant, again, there are worse things to be compared to as a basketball player.
Right. So that kind of leads into what I want to speak about with Tatum. So, and once again, it's like you've done this before. So there's been things, there's certain times in the game lately anyways that Tatum will catch it at the top of the key, not a 3, but at the top of the key. And then basically either he's going to shoot over the guy or he makes the right play out of the double team because he can see it from the center of the floor. So finishing these last 9 games. So, Bob, I'll start with you. So finishing these last 9 games is the biggest adjustment that we need to see from Tatum working out of that mid-post area so that he can see where the double team's coming from, or just getting it, catching it, and then shooting it. So just what do you want to see out of him in these last 9 games as we go into the playoffs?
Yeah, it's not even just Tatum, in my opinion. I feel like we need to see the entire offense run like that moving forward. I just feel like it's more effective when it comes to playoff basketball to not live and die by the 3, and I feel like that's what Joe wants to do. And I don't know if it's Tatum or Brown just kind of taking the offense back over and running it out of the post or running it, on the driving kick. But that's, in my opinion, what we need to see going forward. I completely agree. Tatum out of the mid post and Jaylen Brown driving kicks, man. That's how this offense is at its best. And I absolutely despise it. And it's funny Mike brought up that stat earlier. when this team just, I feel like they get stuck in a trap of where we are a 3-point shooting team, and we live and die by this analytics. And sometimes it's just not the time for that, guys. It's not the game. Sometimes the shots just aren't falling, and you need to figure out a way to get the goddamn ball in the hoop. Whether, like I said, whether that's driving kicks, whether that's working through Tatum out of the post, you got to figure something out, because there are times, man, where it feels like 2 years ago again, where I'm sitting here just pulling my hair out, and I'm like, bro, stop shooting the goddamn three. Stop it. Just stop. Just please.
Bobby, like they feel like a 3-point shooting team because that's what they are, and that's not a knock on them. I mean, because when they are on,
they're unbeatable.
Nobody can beat them except Golden State, because they can play perimeter defense for some reason. I don't understand how, but they can. So, but like to your point, Ray, like the question you asked, if you had to fear Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum in mid range, how much more open would Al Horford or Marcus Smart or Derrick White be on the perimeter? Like, if you want to be a great point shooting team, which by the way they are, they take that noticeable dip in the playoffs. What make everyone think that your two studs have no fear about driving into the paint? Because I mean, I don't want to see Stanley coughing the ball up that much in the paint. He's got way better. You should use the fear that others have for those two and create the wide open 3-point shots for everybody else.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's true. I think I would like to see Jaylen and Jayson do a lot more pick and roll too.
Oh my god, bro! You just literally took that right out of my mouth.
I
Couldn't agree
think
more.
that would be.
Well, Katie's probably pregnant again.
Yeah. I love it. Oh God. Well, and anyways, would want to see them do more pick and roll. So if you remember back in the day, Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire used to run a pick and roll, and teams didn't know how to guard it because obviously Nash was, draws from three, and then Amari would dunk on your head. So you didn't know which way to contest the play. So I would love to see them run that more. To Mike's point, Al Horford has he has rented out the corner office, and he's open all night from three. He's open. Derrick White open from three. So the corner office is there, and the space is available for rent. They just have to make sure that they do it every single time. Like, I think about a couple of plays last night where Tatum was there in the post, right? Catches it. As soon as they saw Sabonis or Keegan Murray come over, and they teach you this even in youth league basketball. Your guy leaves, you cut immediately to the basket. So Tatum did. They got it to him, boom, and one, game over. And I was just like, oh, imagine what happens when you move the fucking ball and you move your legs to get to the basket. And it's easy for them when they do that. That's what was happening when they started off 21-5. So I'm just like, I don't understand why you go away from that. And it's like it's too much hero ball at times. We talked about this on the show religiously. You just have to have a balance. Score from three, score from the mid-range, get your layups. This team also misses too many fucking layups for my liking as well.
They always have. They always.
They get, yeah. It's out of.
It's so annoying.
Out of control.
To your point, like to your point though, Ray, like when the Celtics have 25 or more assists in a game, they shoot 43% or more from three. So like, yeah, Bobby, you're right. Like, this was a microcosm of the season, because this is how good they are and can be when they commit to understanding that if you lead the night in assists, there's going to be an open shot. There's always going to be an open shot. It doesn't matter who takes it. And the fact is, I'd say on this team, at any given time, you have 5 or 6 people that are liable to drop, like go 4 of 6 from 3 on you. And how the fuck do you stop that?
You don't. I think, yeah, go ahead, Bobby.
Well, I was going to say, what's crazy about it too is with this team, you always know within 5 minutes which Celtics team you're getting. You know what I mean? You know really quick which team you're getting just by the extra passes, just by the even on defense, just by the closing out on that extra pass and getting to that guy in the corner. Like you can tell what Celtics team is going to show up in a given night. Like I just keep going back to that Knicks game, bro. Within 10 minutes, I was like, this game is fucking over. I felt like Ray. I was like, bro, close it down right now, man. Like this is toast because they just didn't have it that day. And it was like against the Kings last night, within 10 minutes, I was like, they're gonna fucking smoke this team. This game is already over.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like obviously, I think and once again, because like me and Mike was on that show after they beat LA, this like around Christmas time, and we was talking about like how just right before they played Milwaukee and the Orlando stretch, back in December. Obviously, they ended up losing to Orlando back-to-back games, but in that LA game, it was like okay, like this is what they need to do. So I think sometimes well, not sometimes, most of the time they play down to the competition. Like that's not an opinion, that's a fact. The numbers are there to prove it.
It was Detroit
Um,
last year.
yeah, exactly,
yeah.
exactly. I think last night was that instance where it's like, look, they're saying you guys are bringing the smoke out west. Okay, come show me. We don't. In the words of Jay-Z, we don't believe you. We need more people. Like we don't believe you. So let's see. Let's see if you're about that life. And once again, I like Darren Fox. I'm a UNC guy, so you know I love Harrison Barnes. Domantas Sabonis was out here playing like Giannis, and I didn't like that. The referees.
Sabonis is good, man. Sabonis
Oh,
is.
you know, he's phenomenal. He's phenomenal.
I remember last year everyone was ripping them for that trade Halliburton for Sabonis. And like, listen, I know Halliburton's amazing, but when you actually sit down and watch Domantas Sabonis play basketball for 60 minutes, that dude is in full control every moment he is on the floor. I love watching him play basketball.
Yeah, I mean, he's everything. Like I said, we didn't see his father in his prime.
Arvidas.
Well, yeah, his father came late in Portland, in his career. So, we saw once he got big. We're seeing where young Sabonis would have been. And wow,
Yeah.
the dude is a special talent. And like I said, I'm glad they were just able to get that win against a really improved team there in Sacramento. So want to transition to the scheduling. It's funny, right? Because when Bobby and I did a schedule release show over the summer, we went into detail about some stuff, but we didn't really speak about what the impact of back-to-backs would be. So Mike, I'll start with you. We still have a couple more back-to-backs, so we have one this week coming. I think it's we have the Jazz, and then the Bucks and the Jazz on the 30th and 31st, and then I think we have the Hawks and the Raptors back-to-back. But no, Philly and Toronto. Sorry, Philly and Toronto on April 4th and April 5th. So just has the back-to-backs, in your opinion, led to what some people have said to be a scheduled loss because they always have people out. So do you think the back-to-backs have led to what you would call a certain schedule loss, or are you of the mindset they just need to figure it out no matter who's out there?
I mean, kind of both. And the only reason why I say that is because up until the All-Star break, the Celtics had the most wins out of any team in the NBA when they had less than 2 days off.
Mhm.
So they were conditioned to just beat whoever was in front of them. Now, the caveat to that though is if you're playing everyone 40 minutes a night, they're going to get gassed. And I think last time we were on the show, I said it's evident when they are gassed, how gassed they are. Yeah. And I think, the back-to-back with that Philly and Toronto, I don't like you could literally just trot out 4 people and I still think we beat Philly. We're just in their head, in their fucking head for whatever reason, as long as Al Horford was one of the people that you trotted out, because he loves playing against Embiid. I think normally in like the dead middle of the season, the dog days of the season, back-to-back should be like the next night. You always think, okay, well, this could be like one of those scheduled losses. The problem that they ran into with being so good for so long and then coming out of the All-Star break, what are they, 8-6 since the break? Mm-hmm. And every other team in the East is getting better or catching a hot streak. You can't do that. Now you put yourself in the position where you have to be on from here on in to secure the number 1 seed.
Not even to secure the number 1 seed, bro. To secure the number 2 seed.
Yeah.
Not worried about Philly. Like Game 7 in Philly doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I mean that first round matchup kind of matters a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I would much rather face the Heat, the Hawks, the Raptors, the Bulls, or the Pacers. I guess the Nets kind of suck too. So all right, never mind. I think we can beat the Nets. That's
the thing, right? We're saying, oh, they'll beat the Nets, they'll beat whoever. I said this on one of my Twitter rants recently. All you have to do is play hard against this team, and you have a shot. That's what it is right now. If you play hard for about at least half the game, or even 36 minutes, you are gonna be in the game because they're gonna fucking fold. Like that's not, once again, not a prediction. It's a spoiler. It's out of control how you just have to play. You just get up in their airspace. You move the ball, and then once the shot's not falling, plus you're playing hard. Oh, you might fuck around and win by 30 against the team.
This might be simplifying it, but like it feels like just watching all the games I watched, this year. If you're just competitive up until 5 minutes left in the third quarter, and then you punch the Celtics in the face, you're gonna beat them.
Yeah, it's over. Ball game. Like it's out of control how many times that happens. And listen, I am not looking to face Miami in the first round.
No.
I mean, yeah, should they beat them? Of course they should beat them. Miami would take this team 7 in the first round. And if you think otherwise, I welcome you to say something in the comments to give me another perspective. Because Miami, they're because they're coached hard, they're gonna play hard. They're not gonna give anything up. Once again, I mean, you're not telling me a lineup with Gabe Vincent is gonna be cooking you, but he's gonna have a game of 25 because that's just what the Celtics do. Someone that shouldn't go off is going to go off. And once again, we've used this in the context of another team, but what can go fucking wrong will go wrong. So to me, I just rather stay away from anything that's going to give me any added stress. Because my thing is they should beat teams in 5 or 6 games, in my opinion. It should not take a 7th game to beat a 7 through 10 seed. But I know who we're dealing with, so I'm already mentally prepared for the 7th game and me having a fucking aneurysm on the show by Bobby saying, championship DNA, bro. Like we got it.
So no, but so I know I usually am the optimistic one, but like, how much of this do you actually think is the coaching? Because 2 things I've noticed is first, so Mazzulla got that contract, right? And up until that point, this team was
Rolling.
one of the best teams in the best team in the NBA, right? Ever since that contract happened, and ever since Tatum came out and said Udoka will always be his favorite coach, something seems off. Am I crazy for thinking that? Because it literally since that moment, this team has lost those 2 Magic games in a row. They've done things that are just mind-boggling that I don't think an Udoka coach team, at least at the end of last year, would be doing right now. So do you think that this actually just, comes back to our fear at the beginning of this season that actually might end up taking this team through all the ups and downs of this season, through the highest of highs? Because we were on cloud 9 at one point with Mazzulla. We were like, all right, you know what? We're good. We don't need. I think we might have needed him, guys. In my opinion, I feel like he gave this team a real fire under their ass.
Yeah, I think it just looks like this team thought, like in the first half of the year, up until the All-Star break, let's call it, they needed to prove something to the rest of the league, saying that they are this good, and they want everyone to remember them and put some fucking respect behind their name. The problem here, though, is they thought that the All-Star game was their coronation. It isn't. It's the finals. And I think, Tatum balling out of the All-Star game. I think that they signed Mazzulla to the extension because they realized that he was going to be the coach of the All-Star game, and they didn't want another franchise coaching him, which, sure, but you have not done anything yet. This core, the reason the reason why they were on such a tear, in my opinion, before the break, was because they had tasted the finals. They know what it took to get there, and they would be goddamned if they were not going to get back there again. And then everybody started talking, yours truly included, saying that there ain't a team out there that can beat them. Like, it's going to be Golden State and them in the finals again. And then they started to believe it, right? So yeah, I think that Tatum saying that Ime is his favorite coach, I don't think that carries any weight. I would say I think that Mazzulla would probably say that Ime was his favorite boss. Same thing. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
He still needs to know when to call a fucking timeout, when to stop a run.
Yeah, and that's my biggest concern. Now, people have not heard me give him praise, regardless of what platform I've been on. But the offense has been better under Mazzulla overall. They got so good last year because they defended the hell out of you. Like they were not, you were not scoring on us at this point last year. It was just like you were lucky to crack 100 against us last year at this point of the year. Right now it looks like a layup line. Right now,
Everyone's getting 100 against us.
but right. So, but I wanna make this next statement because it's once again it's not original because it's been said, but I want to reiterate it to our audience and our listeners. No Rob, no ring. It's that simple. You said it looked easy last night, Mike. That's why it looked easy. When he's out there, once again, he's not going to get 20 and 10, but when he's out there, I think he got 8 rebounds last night off the bench. 8 rebounds. And those 8 rebounds will become offensive rebounds last week. Like, at least 4 would have been offensive rebounds. That's 4 possessions. You don't know how the game changes in that moment. So to speak to what Joe has done, if I'm him, once again, I don't know what's being told behind the scenes. I'm not starting Rob the rest of the year, including the playoffs. He's coming off the bench until we get to the finals. Whatever, like, if you wanted him to end the game with the starters, cool. Excuse me, but you saw the 8-man rotation last night. That's what it should be. Smart, White, Tatum, Brown, Al, and then it's Malcolm, Grant, Rob, and then maybe if you need Hauser for a few seconds or you need Blake for a few minutes, but that's the 8 and 9 guys there. But back to the thing with Joe. Like I said, the timeout thing is a concern of mine. I said early on, and our own Joe was like, no, like, just give it time, da da da. And I'm like, I seen it early on. I'm like, yo, it's not about right now. Everyone was hyped. I was 21-5. I'm like, yo, I cared about the good start, but I'm thinking, yo, in April when you're up 76-61, and all of a sudden a blitz happens when a team goes 20-2 and you don't call a timeout, that's a problem. That's a problem. You get every possession in the playoffs matter. So you have to get to a point where it's like, yo, okay, the moment they score, they go on a 6-0 run. Yo, I'm calling timeout so we can get going. Perfect example. This was the last year that KG, Paul, and no, I think Ray already gone. He might have already been gone. Yeah, he was already gone because it's 2013. We lose to the Knicks in the first round, right? Game 6, we're getting smoked. I'm talking about dragged out the building. And all of a sudden, we go on a 20-0 run. And Mike Woodson, who was the next coach at the time, is just looking like, what's going on out here, guys? Look, like, you're getting cooked. You need to call a timeout. Now, they had to win that game after because J.R. Smith and Melo righted the ship for them. But it's just like, that can't happen. And that's what I think about moments like that. You cannot let teams go on an historic run because you want to save a timeout in the fourth quarter. You cannot take the timeouts with you. They're not a to-go bag. They're not leftovers for Thanksgiving. Make sure you use the fucking timeouts that are allotted to you so that you can get the guys back in shape like he did last night. Calls a timeout. They go on an 8-0 run immediately. Yes, Joe. Recenter the team, refocus, and then you go from there.
Yeah. I've always been like a big proponent of like the coaching in the NBA doesn't matter unless you're in a situation like this. Like, let's just if Ime was the coach of the Nets last year, the Celtics don't sweep them in the first round, but it just doesn't happen. But Coaching matters in pivotal spots. And my fear now is with this team that made it there last year, they think that that's their destiny this year. Which, by the way, like they should feel that way because of how well they played. The coach can't feel that way. He needs to know what to actually say. You know what? To your point, Ray, like you're up 16. The minute that they score 9 in a row, you call a timeout. That's it. Like you're still going. This is going to be a 2-possession game.
Yeah, and I keep in my head, I keep hopping over to March Madness because like I've never seen more up and down pivotal runs in my entire life than you do in the game of college basketball. And you know what every coach in the history of college basketball does? When you see that shit start happening, they call a fucking timeout. You can predict that shit. You know what I mean? Like they score that 8-0, they get that 10th bucket to make it a 4-point game. You're like, timeout, and every fucking time they call a fucking timeout. The only person that I've had to sit there for multiple possessions and be like, fucking timeout, what we is Joe Mazzulla. So
Yeah, like
that's it. He's the only fucking one, man.
Like, it's pathetic. It's just like once again, I think overall he's done a good job. Once again, 50. Listen, a singular win is hard to come by in the NBA. It's hard. It's hard. So to win 50 is a phenomenal feat. It's great. However, there's certain nuances of the game that has to be figured out. It's just that simple. And I'm hoping, also, I know we just lost Damon Stoudemire. Congrats to him for getting a job down at Georgia Tech.
I feel like that hurts a little bit.
Oh, of course it does. Of course it does. He was Ime's main guy. Obviously, Will Hardy's over in Utah. And that's another thing, too. People are going to watch that tape that Utah did against Tatum. No, to go 0-4 in the second half, like, Will Hardy took about the fucking game completely. So if you don't think teams are going to be watching that and say, okay, well, we can put 2 on him here, we can do this, we can do that. Like, so scheme guys open. And for the love of God, please start designing other ATOs. He has Tatum all the way at the other side of the backcourt. Everybody knows what's happening in that moment. And once again, you stole it from Horseshoe, you stole it from Brad. I remember that play they did in Indiana, and it worked a few times. I remember it worked. It worked in Charlotte too. It was great plays. You gotta draw something else up. Like, so whether you have Tatum as the inbounder, whether you have JB as the inbounder, you give it back to them. Like, there's so many other ways and so many other actions you can do. Maybe they're saving it for the playoffs. Maybe that's my hope. I'm hoping, because right now it's like you're at the 10 feet level in the pool, and you're in there like this. Like you basically you can't, you drowning right now, and you fighting for air. That should not be the case.
So that kind of sets me up for exactly what I was just thinking. Where last year at this time, right, we weren't thinking like, and again, for all the Celtics fans out there, they're gonna rip us for being so negative about like a number 2 seed in the fucking East. Like, listen, it's just the vibes of this team are so different because last year, right, this team could shoot 20% from 3. This team could shoot 38% from the field and still win a fucking game 98-84 because they just absolutely dominated you on defense.
Right.
This team doesn't have that vibe. I don't feel like we can have a shit night on the offensive side, because we had this conversation so many times last year where it's like, listen, it doesn't matter how we shoot because you're not fucking scoring on us. That's not what's happening this year. You know what I mean? And we all just keep going back to that dangerous fucking line that we've heard from this team, that we've heard in this city so many times. They'll turn it on in the playoffs. They'll do this in the playoffs. That doesn't fucking work.
Right.
It never has, and it never will. All right. We've seen it from so many teams. Remember the Kyrie? They'll turn it on in the play.
They just haven't earned that yet. Like Golden State has earned that. You can go 7-30 on the road, and nobody wants to play you still. Why? Because you were a fucking wagon for 4 out of 6 years. Like, what, 8 years ago? You took a little break, the minute the band's back together, you win the finals.
Literally. Like,
Right.
oh,
Right. It's like, oh, the reunion or
Clay had been full strength for like 2.5 weeks. You know,
right.
No,
Ridiculous.
I guess my question, because I want Ray to kind of lose and teach me something here, too, Bobby. If everyone on this team is the same, and they can't play defense now, but they could last year, and Mazzulla worked under Ime, what the fuck is going on?
It's lack of effort. Like and once again, it's and that shouldn't be uttered out of my mouth, but that's what it is. And once again, for those and Sam, what's up, bro? I know you're listening to this, and I know you've gotten on me because you think that I'm super negative. It's not about me being negative, bro. When I watch basketball, I watch sports in general. And once again, it's maybe the teacher in me, the educator in me. I'm very big on effort. If I don't see you trying, that burns a hole in me like no other. It pisses me off with children. It's damn sure gonna piss me off with adults. You got to show effort. Once again, you could lose the game. You could lose how they lost to Milwaukee 131-125, but the effort they showed forth that night, it being shorthanded, I said that was a thing of beauty. I would have had that thing on a loop around the whole practice facility. I would have had it in TD Garden. I would have it in the locker room. Like that's what it should be. But for whatever reason, like you said, they popped up and thought they arrived. But once again, Bobby and I talked about this in August. You are now the hunted. And we clicked on it right away. It was like, I want to see how they deal with being the hunted. That's what it is. Teams are now, because obviously they didn't get to the finals before, now they have. Teams are now using them as a measuring stick. So teams are like, yo, we're not laying down. We want to see how close are we being to a 2 seed? How close are we being to a finals contender? So Houston's a perfect example. They're not playing for anything. But when young guys like Jaylen Green, well, Sagoon didn't play the night, which that's an indictment on Steven Silas because Sagoon just baby Jokic. I don't know what the fuck you doing down there, but you need to wake up. That's
fucking awesome, bro.
Yeah,
That dude is
he's
amazing.
But yeah, he's so good. But it's just like we probably would have lost by 30.
I jerk off to Sangoon highlights at nighttime.
Yeah, he's
that's what I go to bed to. Katie's probably I know. But that's
I just think that he and I lost my train of thought saying that, but I don't know. I say I go.
So, but is it a lack of effort, right? Like on the player,
it's the effort slash being like you're part of being the hunted. That's what I'm talking about. You're being the hunted. So when you are the hunted, it's like, yo, at some point, teams are not just gonna lay down. They want to make sure that they, like I said, that they give their best to see how they measure up against you. So it's really that simple to me. There could be more, and I'm willing to hear if you have another perspective, Bobby and Mike. But that's just the first thing that comes to mind when I think about that.
I mean, if it's an effort thing, right? I mean, that just comes right back to coaching, man. There's nothing, never more in a professional environment in any kind of environment where you have people that are at the top of their game, right? That are the best at what they do, and you have them not giving effort. To me, that goes right back on management immediately. It goes right back to who is leading that team, who is the person in charge of that team, and what is the message that they're giving to them. You know what I mean? Because I'll never forget last year, right? It was either the Bucks. I think it was the Bucks series where Smart at one point did something fucking stupid, right? And Udoka pulled him aside. He literally went, "Hey, cut the fucking shit. Yep. What the fuck are you doing?"
Yep.
Boom, 10-0 run from the Celtics.
I know what you're talking about. He was like, "Can we stop playing like fucking assholes?" That's what he said.
Yes, that's exactly what
exact quote. Can we stop playing like assholes?
We stop, and they took off from there.
So Joe, that's not
what he's doing, right? And I just listen. I get it. I know that he was the guy that like, you know, Brad's guy. He was the right guy for the culture at the time. I get it. He is, to me, like the way he could prove me wrong. Believe me. All right, he could 100% prove me wrong in the next 2 months. I want him to, right? I don't think he's the guy to lead us to a fucking championship, man. I can't see Joe firing this team up to get past the Warriors, to get past the fucking Nuggets, to get past these teams that just, to me, are just more sound than the Celtics at this point in time. Right now.
Wouldn't the equivalent for like Mazzulla is you guys want to stop playing like assholes? That's what Ime said. Like, couldn't Mazzulla and like, we know he's dry, his sense of humor. Just be like, all right, well, I guess we're going home tonight. You don't want to play? Cool. Like, that should fire them up the same.
So that's funny you said that, right? What show was I watching? Oh, NBA Open Court. So Phil Jackson did that to the Laker team that came back against Portland in the 2000 conference finals.
I've seen that mic'd up, I think.
Yeah, he said you guys had a great season. The team just seems to be better. See you guys in October, and just walks off. And so Shaq goes, like, what? Like they we out of it? Like we not gonna win? And then I guess him, Kobe, and Fisher was like, man, fuck that. We about to go back and win. And next thing you know, you see the famous play, the love to Shaq. It's over. Game over, right?
That's so iconic. That's one of the best.
I would love to hear Tatum to Brown on the alley-oop, timeout, like that. That would be phenomenal. I just don't see Joe doing that. Once again, that would be so awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. I don't see it from him. He's Jayson. Right, exactly. I feel like I'm living through fucking Jayson Garrett all over again, man.
He's going to chew his gum. He's going to say, so I'm just going to tell him I love him. Really.
And
I would love to fucking win, Joe.
Listen,
I don't care about how guys feel. Once again, I want guys to feel their best, like, health-wise. But I'm not telling a player I love them after you mouth. I bet I made both. Like you bet you made both.
That was so fucking
miss them.
bullshit.
Like what? Like I like I said, I've been mad. Like when Mike asked me that question, what was worse a few weeks ago? Like I almost blew a fucking gasket on the show. I couldn't believe one. I'm like, it shouldn't be compared because it's terrible. It was just awful. I'll take a blown lead over that bullshit any day. Like, so we talked about that. I was like, wow. And that's saying a lot knowing me.
Like, you've never seen anything like that in your entire life. I've never seen anything like that in my entire life. Ever.
So bad. So bad.
Do you think he cringes about that in the shower every morning?
He should. Until I want to be clear because I've said this. I don't want him playing, but clearly he has to play. Shitly. Until he has
But Derrick White doesn't in the fourth. What the fuck?
You know what? I can't believe we got this fun. I'm so glad. That can't fucking happen. Listen, those that are defending, and I'm sorry, because I know I'm supposed to be hosting this. I'm sorry, but I can't believe that you have a guy. Once again, Mike gave you the beautiful stats at the beginning. 20, I think 12 and 8 last night in Sacramento. The game before, he doesn't play the fourth quarter.
Not a minute. Again, not one.
White and Broderick should be together. If you got smart out there, what are you doing, Joe? What are you doing?
That's the shit I'm talking about. Yeah, that's the shit I'm talking about.
It's wild.
It's just like
it's wild.
It's shit that like you shouldn't be doing with 9 games left in the fucking season. You know what I mean? There's teams that are ready for a championship run, and that was us last year. You know what I mean? Where shit was firing in all cylinders, where we knew who the fucking rotation was. That shit was set. You know what I mean? There was no doubt who it was. You knew who was in crunch time. You knew all this shit. It was fucking set up. It was there. We didn't know we were gonna make the run yet, but we had some optimism, right? We were feeling good about the team going into the playoffs.
He may play guys.
There's just no fucking.
That's what Joe's trying to do. He's the first time he did it was last night. Oh, you beat the guys by 20. Imagine that. Listen, as much as I've liked what Mike Muscala has given, as much as I like what Luke Cornett has done at times, they should have the same amount of points as me, you, and Mike in the playoffs. 0. Unless there's a caveat. Unless it's Geno time, and they're blowing the opponent out. That's when they can come into the game.
Geno time.
I am not
That's
I'm
for
not
you, Celtic Nation.
I'm not comfortable with seeing those guys on the floor.
Yeah.
Anybody beyond Blake, like, once again, I'm hoping we could get Gallo back too. You know, do you think he could do something, Mike? Danilo Gallinari? Do you think he could do something to play?
Yes.
He's healthy?
Yes. I mean, absolutely. He's by all accounts, he's a great shooter.
Yep.
You have to worry about him. So he comes back, add a bonus, but like the difference between last year and this year, aside from the fact that we're scoring 6 more points per game, but we're allowing 9
I don't give a
points
shit about
more per game.
That's what I care.
Is Rob, last year Rob was Time Lord. This year he's missed Time Lord. But you don't know how much you can depend on him and how much weight you can put on him, because when he is healthy, like we've all said this, when you know he's healthy and he's on, it's hard to beat this team. Really fucking hard, unless you're the Warriors. But it's
been
really
like
fucking hard.
4 years now. 4 years we've been saying that.
Well, okay. So that's so let's stay there, right? So last year
We've been staying there. It's all. That's
no,
all.
right? No, exactly right. Yeah, that's the problem, exactly. But last year he was the healthiest he'd been. We dominated,
Yeah.
Right.
and it goes back to what I said earlier. No Rob, no ring. When he's locked in and healthy, this team is different. Because he's a threat at the rim. And it gives us that spacing. It adds to the spacing. And then 2, he eliminates shots at the rim. Once again, it may not always be a block, but he eliminates them. And Mike, I'll come back to you. You know, I want to see your thoughts. Once again, you don't have to give me a player, but you just give me your thoughts on this. Because of the availability not being what it should be or could be for Rob, is it time to move on for him in the offseason?
Like the head says yes, but the heart says no. Right? Like he is, we said this before. He's just like a taller, slightly darker Jimmy G. When he's there, man, like your team will get to the championship.
Yep.
Will. And his potential is there. It's just his injuries are always knee or leg related. And that is not a good sign for a young pick.
Yep.
It's not. Like that's hard to do. Like, so if you could guarantee his health, yeah, you keep him, but you can't. Realistically, if you only had him for 40, or let's call it 50 regular season games, but you could guarantee that he'd be healthy at the end of the season, I'd take that all day, all fucking day.
If we're gonna do this again, right? So if we're gonna do this again, you need to have not a contingency plan. You need to have a plan A and have Rob be a bonus that you just have an addition into the playoffs, where Rob can't be who we're banking on for this team to make that run. He can't, man. You just can't do it. If you do, it's setting you up for failure. If that's the guy that you're relying on, then you are literally setting your franchise up for failure. There's no doubt about that at this point. It's an inevitability that within 82 games, he's going to miss at least half of those, right? It's inevitable at this point. And if he doesn't, he's going to be sore and broken down by the end of the playoffs. And again, that's an inevitability at this point. It is a proven fact. So they have to do something to fix that, to prepare for that before it happens. Because the definition of insanity is doing the same shit over and over again and expecting different results. We've been here before. It's the same fucking result every fucking time.
Who becomes the replacement then? Because I mean, I know, it's not our job, obviously, but we're talking about it now. So, and once again, I know we follow players more around the league, more than Mike in this regard, which is fine. But just who could be a replacement? Because once again, like I said, I agree with you, Mike. I want him on the team for the 50+ games. Once again, I'm greedy. I would like 60 and in the playoffs. Because I think that would put us in a different position. When it comes to seeding, and I'll get to that in a second. But like Bobby, like who could be like a valid replacement because at this moment, like I said, I'm tired of just saying, okay, when Rock comes back, Rock comes back, Rock comes back. Like just who can be that guy that we could put there? Because once again, we got to hedge against Al getting up there too. Once again, Al's been great. Al's probably been our second best player probably since the All-Star break. So yeah, so just like who could be a viable option in the offseason.
So I'm looking at the center free agents right now, and it's pretty fucking haggard, man. In terms of defense, I mean, the best guy is Vucevic when it comes to like overall centers, but he is, just straight up a defensive liability when it comes to what Rob brings. So, I mean, I don't even know, man, to be honest. I would think of a guy who's just completely defensive minded, who can literally run your defense and is a presence that you have to fear about down low. The one name that keeps popping in my head because I know he's going to be available, which might be blasphemous, because he's not a rim protector. Draymond, would you welcome Draymond
No.
into the city? No.
Yes, but he's not leaving. He's not leaving Golden State. And by the way,
he might.
If he leaves Golden State, he's going to LA.
Yeah, but he's not. Can we just on the record? Can we just say like he's nothing without them? Like he's not a difference maker without Steph Curry or Klay Thompson.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
but
to answer your question, this is going to be a wild take, but I'm sure you expected this. Like, if you can keep Rob, keep him, but you have to address the fact that Al's going to be like 184 years old next year. He can continue to play all these minutes. Figure out your cap. Go get Porzingis.
I don't hate it. Yeah,
I mean he wasn't even on my fucking radar. But that I mean, and to steal your words, that's pretty naughty. I expect it.
But again, that's defensive. His defensive liability too. I mean, it's
no, but if he Anthony Edwards said it best. He said Porzingis, I can't get around him. Like he gets the rim, and Anthony Edwards is someone that could get him on anybody in this league.
What about Miles Turner? What about Miles Turner?
Who?
Miles Turner.
Sure.
It's a name we've been talking about for years.
He'll be forever. He'll be forever brought up. But I'll continue on the Porzingis thing for a second, right? He's back. Like he's back. It doesn't get shown as much because he's playing in Washington and they're not as good this season. When you can get 20 and 8 and 2, even on a messed up leg, I'll take that. Once again,
he's out there. You know what? You're right. I'll take him. He's out there,
and he's shooting.
I don't know. I feel like you almost have to give up Rob to get him in that moment.
You have to get someone to take Al's contract.
Well, remember they dropped his because they signed him to an extension, and so his money went down. He's not getting that $27 million anymore, but unless this is the final year of it, like I'm not sure, but I know he signed an extension too. So, I mean, once again, if you want to do a sign and trade and you give Grant and you send him down to Washington, and to me, like I said, that's the only way. Once again, if you can find a way to package like Grant, Pritchard, JD Davison, and like another first rounder to Washington, yeah, do it. Yeah,
I feel like Grant's meant for the Wizards.
Yeah, I mean, listen, look what Kuzma's done. Again, Kuzma's a better player, but like I see what Kuzma's done in Washington. Grant could do the same thing. He could. Once again, I just don't want him here. I'm done with seeing him in a Southern uniform. I think he's a great guy. I met him at CD Garden. Like always pleasant. That's not my problem.
Just had to make one of those two, man. Just fucking.
But like,
just one fucking free throw, bro. One free throw, and we're still a fucking 1 seed. But it's okay.
Watch me make both of these. Quang.
If you can make the cap work, right? If Porzingis fills the need for both Al and Rob. Like this year, Porzingis, he's doing way better at shot blocking. He's averaging, like you said, almost 9 rebounds a game, 22 points a game. And oh, by the way, like Mazzulla is not able to get these people to actually play defense. he's shooting 39% from three. That's what Al does.
Exactly. Correct.
So he is making $33 million this year.
Hey, you want to win or you want to go home? Yeah.
Well, I'm with you.
Yeah, that's it. So
I just want him to play defense. That's all I want.
No facts. But so I'm
play
gonna,
defense,
I'm
please.
gonna give a way less sexier pick than what Mike just said. I'd go with someone like Thomas Bryant.
I like Thomas Bryant. I was gonna say him.
I think that he shoots the three okay. He's not better than Al when it comes to 3-point shooter, but just someone that can be defensively sound. That's what you need. Someone like a Dwayne Dedman, someone like that. Like, you need someone that can be, a stabilizer, force down, and once someone that's not going to get you 20 and 10, obviously. But you have to make sure that they are going to be out there and be healthy, so on and so forth. So I'm hoping that they address that. That's been the biggest indictment of Brad's tenure as GM. Once again, bringing Al was back because bringing back Al was phenomenal. And once again, like what Muscala has done, I just think, to me, obviously they were going to get Proto based off what Serrano ended up giving him, but maybe you go out the OG and Anunoby. Once again, he's not a center. Chris Boucher, like there's plenty of names that's out there that they can sign for the mid-level exception, the biannual exception. Like, so there's a lot of stuff out there that they can actually do, going forward. So, but either way, it needs to be addressed, because if not, they will have the same amount of rings as us, and that's 0. Well, Mike's only a champion here right now because Mike has a ring. So yeah. So, and you're next, Bobby. Keep that on the down low, right?
I did it backwards.
He's gonna tie the two before he ties the
that
knot.
happens, brother. Sorry.
That's a fact.
So
one of my vows is gonna be like, I promise to never have any more children. I vowed to never have any more children.
I love it. So, as we mentioned earlier, so the Celtics have 9 games left in the regular season. They currently stand at 50-23. So, Bobby, I'll start with you. Just what is a realistic close to you look like in these final 9 games? So, just give a record, and then just like what do you want to see from them as they close out that regular season?
Let me who's on the 10? Let's see this. Hang on.
Yeah, all right. So let's just do this, Bobby. Ready?
Indiana
versus Indy.
They better fucking win that game.
Versus San Antonio.
They better win that game.
At Washington.
Better win that game.
At Milwaukee.
Oh, all right. Give them at Milwaukee. Give them an out.
You better win that game. You better win it. You forfeited that game before the All-Star break.
You're right. You better win that game. Yeah, you better win.
All right. Versus Utah.
Better win that fucking game.
I think that's a loss.
Not better. Do you think they will?
Oh, so back to back after Milwaukee. Yeah, you're right.
I think
That's probably a no. Yeah.
All right. Then Philly
win.
I think that's a loss.
Stop.
I think they win. Nah.
Stop. You know they did not lose that game.
Philly. No, listen. Are we the better team? Obviously. What I'm saying, for that particular
that
night,
might have a 3 seed on the line.
Was that game that night?
All right. Toronto.
Win.
Correct.
Win.
Atlanta.
Lost, because I think we'll have the 2 seed or whatever locked by then. So they won't.
So that right. So pause, Bobby. That is exactly the shit I'm talking about. Where last year they wouldn't have fucking rested anyone that last game of the season. Doesn't matter if they had fucking walked up. They were competitors last year, and it didn't fucking matter who they were playing. They were gonna fucking take you down. And this year, I guarantee you're right. I bet you they rest people at the end of the season to if the Heat are the 6 seed or the Heat are the 7 seed. I bet you they rest, or the Heat are in the play-in. I bet you they rest someone to get to that 3 seed so they don't have to fucking play him. I bet you that's the type of shit that the mindset of what this team is right now to me. Because
even with that, yeah, because I actually, can I remember
That's
how,
what got us so fired up. Do you remember? We
yeah,
were
I
like,
remember how hyped we
"Oh,
were.
crap, bring on the Nets!" Like, bro,
Yeah,
that's what got
exactly.
us
Yeah.
so hyped.
I remember that because I think the last game
Sorry,
was in Memphis,
sorry.
actually. The last game was in Memphis
Yeah,
last year.
we fucking won by like 50, and
Yeah,
we were like,
Tatum went crazy
yeah.
against Memphis, and I was like, oh, like they, and their words, it's like, we don't run from the smoke. And
Right.
that's what
We
they were
don't.
saying.
I bet you they run from the smoke.
Yeah, I mean, once thing, unless they go back to what they were early in the year, where it's like, look, this is 2014 Spurs. Like, we lost last year. We know we're the better team. We know we're the best team right now. Um, let's just see. But like I said,
Show it
yeah,
to me.
I wouldn't be
Show it
surprised.
to me. You know,
Especially on Easter, I wouldn't be surprised.
In that exercise, we had them winning 7 out of the last 9. Let's just prepare to be disappointed and say that it's just.
It's gonna be 5-4. Yeah.
I was going to say, let's just say that if they go 6-3, that's what 56-26, which, by the way, I think is what 6 more wins than they had last year.
Yes,
and we would feel worse about this team than we did about last year's team.
crazy,
bro, because it's the same exact people, and it's just not the same effort. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason you should be giving up 150 points to the fucking Oklahoma City Thunder at any point in this fucking season. There's no reason you should be giving up 130 points multiple times in this season when you were a historically great defensive team last year. All right. Like, I know we're coming across as like the Neg Nancy's, like the Adam Jones of the Celtics fucking universe. I get it. Celtic Nation, I get it. But like, you can't look at this team and tell me you have the same giddy butterflies that you had last year. Because listen, this is coming from the most green teamer of all green teamers that will ever green team. It's just different. It's just a different vibe, and it scares me going into the playoffs. I'm scared. I'm nervous.
Yeah, because I've seen it also. Oh, stop projecting. You're doing this.
I'm just nervous.
I'm
nervous about this team.
The last 5 years, well, essentially last year, because we started at the beginning of the year, they turned it around. We've seen this happen.
Last year was the anomaly,
right? And this is almost like, you know what? I do think the year that we shut down, like the year shut down in 2020, I do think that would have been a little different with, because like I said, the way Kemba was playing early on was an all-star, and then they kind of obviously the pandemic shut everything down. I do think that team was a little bit different, per se.
I mean, Tatum couldn't dunk, so
huh?
Tatum couldn't dunk, so
right, exactly. But I just feel like the way they had played, I feel like they had finally. They got better. Once again, they got back.
Is that a throwback to the Bam stuff?
That's when Bobby had his.
That hurt, man.
That was a phenomenal play.
Sure, but Bobby was wearing his Raptor onesie at that point in time. He loved Toronto. Loved him.
Yo, shout out to the OG listeners that remember the Raptor rants, the Raptor love that we were giving on this show. And then just Bobby and D going back and forth about it. Once again, they were very good at that time.
Listen, Fred VanVleet, bro. Come on.
He's
his name.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal talent. My favorite moment was just like, I think Mike was just like, Marcus Smart can't fucking shoot. And then Marcus Smart hit 5 threes in a row.
Sure.
He was like, I'm fucking, he's like, of course. He's like, I talk about how the man can't fucking shoot to save his life. And he saves us. Game 2. He went crazy.
But you asked him the last 9 games, in my opinion, because your overall question is, does the 1 seed matter? Yes, only if Game 7 is in Milwaukee.
But it will be though. Like, it's not like who's going to beat them in the first round?
No. So if we finish right now and we think that we're going to do what we're going to do, it will be us versus the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals, let's say. Yeah. And I don't want to go in there at Game 7. I don't trust the refs. I don't trust.
I know. I feel you. I think. Ironically, we have the best road record in the league. But what's crazy though and I told the story last year, and it's relevant to this conversation. Yeah, I remember like seeing them lose Game 5, and I mean that building. I mean, if you could have just pushed some, like you could have poked like the finger of doom. If you could have poked them over, like they just would have just fell over. Like they were so distraught walking out of there Game 5. And I remember going downstairs, I'm getting myself on my locker. Even my coworkers like, damn, like season over, like we ain't gonna see y'all no more. Like the Bruins gone. And so I'm like, man, fuck that. See y'all Sunday. Get that stuff. See you Sunday. I said, you've been waiting for a Tatum game. It's coming. See you Sunday. And lo and behold, he come in there 46, 11, and whatever, 7 that night. That man was like, I'm not walking out of here like this. So that's gonna happen at some point. Um,
I hope it fucking happens. Like Eastern Conference Finals. That'd be fucking amazing.
You can't worry about a Game 7, Mike, if you don't get there. So my thing is, figure it out before Game 7. You don't have to worry about getting up there.
Yeah, the only thing that matters to me, the only time the one seed would matter is it's in the case that we play Milwaukee, because again, I'm on record. This is recorded. You could play 7 games in Philly. We're winning 6 of them.
I like that. Yeah. I mean,
I agree.
yeah. No, it's true. It's true. To me, I just feel like the way we played Milwaukee this year, in general, is better than what we played them last year. Once again, to come in there with the C team, not the B team, the C team, and you lose by 6, you take them to overtime. They better like if it. And honestly, I'm lying when I say this. I know but I'm saying it's total hyperbole. They could go 1-8 if the one is Milwaukee. I'm okay with that, and I'm totally lying because I'd be pissed off if they go 1-8. But if they beat Milwaukee, just like we were happy about them beating them on Christmas, it was like if you beat Milwaukee, I'm good with that. Because to me, it's the only team that matters to me at this moment. Atlanta is not going to look unless we find a way to jump the 1 seed and get back to the 1 seed by beating Milwaukee and going 57-25 or 50-24.
You go 1 Knicks in the first round.
And honestly, I'm not sure we beat New York.
Yeah, we don't beat the Knicks in the first round. We don't beat the fucking Knicks in the first round.
Like,
what are we 1-4 this year?
I'm serious. The way
1-4, right?
You wasn't there, man. I'm there for that double overtime. I'm seeing Julius Randle fucking laugh at the bench, bro. Like I'm behind the Celtics bench, and this man is laughing as if he was the second coming of Bernard King. I know he's wearing the same number than him, but he thinks he's Bernard King. Thinks he's fucking Patrick Ewing or Willis Reed. Actually, rest in peace to Willis Reed. You're a legend. I know he passed away earlier, today. So prayers out to his family and his friends. But yo, like really? Like come on. He was like that's what, so to me, I would hope to have a matchup with them because like y'all look real confident. And Julius Randle, remember, you was doing the same thing a couple of years ago, brother. And so Trae Young came into your building and said it's quiet as fuck in here. Be humble. You ain't been there yet, big dog. You a hell of a player. We probably should have drafted you to Smart back in 2014, but that's okay. And, Smart has had his good moments, here in Boston. So it is what it is. But yeah, like just chill. But the way they play, like I said, I'm not confident that we beat them in 7 games.
Right. So you can't go 1-8.
Can't go 1-8, obviously, but they'll go 5-4 because they're gonna piss us off. They're gonna go 5-4. They're gonna check a couple of games off they shouldn't check off, and yeah, that's just what it is. Ridiculous. So the final question I have, and Mike, I'll start with you. This is based off the John Morant comment. Are we fine in the East? Are we fine in the East, Mike?
Listen, honestly, we're fine in the East if we never have to go near Cleveland.
Mm-mm. That's the team who's good. Okay. All right.
Yeah. That for some reason this year, like they're just playing us tough. And I thought that they were gonna fall off a couple of weeks before the All-Star break. And they just never did. They just never did. Are we fine in the East? we're in a position now, dude. Like we have all this talent. We just don't have a leader. In the sense, coach hasn't proven himself yet. Now, again, I said this last time we were on. Spoelstra didn't prove himself until his run with the big three. He did have Pat Riley to fall back on, but right. I mean, so now Mazzulla's got horseshoes to lean into.
But got Brad Stevens to fall back on.
Yeah, but what really worries me, I guess, is that the two heartbeats of this team are not Jayson and Jaylen Brown. They should be because they're the most talented. They are Robert Williams, not always on the court, and Marcus Smart, who makes terrible decisions. So, like, you just
Yeah. I mean, if he does,
Marcus has been horrible. Marcus has
no,
been
fact,
horrible
fact.
at times this year.
If he does, so if he plays like he played before the All-Star break, and like I said, you heard all the negativity this show, but if Smart gets back to the level that he was before the All-Star break, we'll see them in June. I don't doubt that at all. But he's got to get back there, and maybe once again he's just starting to feel healthy now. Maybe that was part of it, but once again, if we see, we said it earlier, if we see the performance that we saw last night against Sacramento, and once again from an effort standpoint, you're not always going to score 130. That's not the concern. The effort, the ball movement, the right play. Once again, they had 7 steals and like 4 turnovers at one point. That's what you want. You don't want 15 turnovers and 3 steals. You want more steals than turnovers. Right. So make the right play for the next man. The goal is for the Boston Celtics to score, not Jayson Tatum, not Jaylen Brown, not Marcus Smart. That goal is for the Boston Celtics to score. Score 1 more point than your opponent.
Yeah.
That's
the tale of last night's game isn't the fact that we scored 132.
right.
You should be able to walk into any fucking game and say, you know what, like you did last year, you ain't scoring 110, and we are. Nope.
Yeah,
that's all you need to do. 109 is what Sacramento. You do that, the Celtics will beat. They'll win 9 out of every 10 games if the opponent only scores 109. They will.
And they outscored the Kings by almost 20 points in the paint last night, which is exactly what we were talking about.
That's the last thing I want to touch on.
I think that goes right back to effort. But yeah, go ahead.
No, exactly. I mean, shout out to Eddie House because he talked about it on the broadcast as well. Even if you're not getting to the cup, to catch the ball in the paint, and then
it's such a big difference, bro.
You're going to draw guys in. So as soon as one of your guys leave the defender, Howes is in the corner. Grant's in the corner. Like, so that's what has to happen. Most teams are not disciplined enough to stick to their man. It's just not. It's a new day. Like, most teams are not disciplined. So make other teams work.
Right. Driving kicks, man. Driving kicks. That's the game.
Driving kicks.
That is the fucking game.
And then, once again, 15, 17, 19. All 3 facets of the game. Score from every level. And once again, just the goal is for the Boston Celtics to score, not just one set player, not just one multiple. And just so be disciplined, move the ball, and once again, you should get back to the finals at least. Now you just got to go win it. Like it's really that simple. The ball is in their court, literally. Just make good decisions. Like that's the best thing I say. Make good decisions, move the ball. You should be back there in June. With your fellow teammates, the Boston Bruins. We should be there in the finals too. Hopefully, the way they've been playing. So, I just want more money than today. So please play the way you're supposed to play, so I can have more money in my pocket come June. So I can go to the casino.
Sports book, baby.
And do more parlays with Bobby.
Yeah.
So if that's it, we could close on that. So for Money Mike Marcangelo, for my guy, the real BK Bob Kelly, I'm Hollywood Rashawn Buchanan. We'll see you next time. Peace.